This morning, I want to start off by talking to you about 7 ways that the devil deceives people. Because you have to understand that the devil is a liar. He's the father of lies. He doesn't know how to do anything but lie. And deception means to believe a lie. So, if we were to say a person is deceived, that means that they're believing something that's not true, but it has actually become their reality because they believe it. Do you realize that whatever you believe becomes your reality, even if it's not true at all? You can believe that somebody doesn't like you, and you go through all the same torment that you would if somebody really didn't like you. And maybe the person has never had one bad thought about you in their life. Maybe they haven't even thought about you at all. See? Sometimes we think everybody's thinking about us all the time, what we're doing and what we're wearing. You know, a lot of times you're the last thing on their mind. And so let me just pose this to you today for you to take home and think about. How many lies do you believe? I would venture to say that there's not one of us here in this room, myself included, who doesn't still believe something that's not true. Now, will you just kind of tuck that away, take it home with you? And when you have your time with God, start asking God to reveal to you lies that you believe. Because every lie that you believe represents something the devil is stealing from you that God wants you to have. And you know, we all have a little different bent to our ministry, those of us that are called into ministry. And besides seeing people saved and helping hurting people all over the world, I really, really, really want to see people, I want Christians to be spiritually mature, not stay babies their whole life. And I really want to see people have what Jesus died for them to have. There's nothing sadder than a Christian with no victory. We need the victory to make other people hungry and thirsty for what we have. And the victory doesn't mean necessarily you have no problems. It's more about, do you let the problem have you? So, we have to know our enemy. 1 Peter 5:8 says, be alert and of sober mind. See, the mind is so important. Think about what you're thinking about. The next time you get depressed, take a moment and think about what you're thinking about. Or the next time the devil invites you to a pity party and you're sitting around feeling sorry for yourself, just ask yourself, now, what have I been thinking about? Well, you've been thinking about what you don't have, what people don't do for you, what you're not, and you can turn that around by simply thinking the way that God thinks. And the way he thinks is written in this book. This is your go-to. See? The more you know about this, I am so grateful for what I know. And I'm 43 years into this, so naturally, I know quite a bit by now, but I got it the same way you'll get it, one day at a time, 1 year at a time, refusing to give up. Just think 5 years from now what you'll know that you don't know now. And the devil doesn't want you to know anything. He'll do everything he can to keep you from having any knowledge. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Okay, say right now, it's not going to be me. Satan was once a beautiful, magnificent archangel. He was in charge of worship. Matter of fact, it appears that his body was made up of musical instruments. So every which way he turned, he got a different sound. Archangel. There's a handful of archangels. They're above the other angels. And he got so full of himself that he rebelled against God. And he said, I will lift my throne above the throne of God. Well, you know, that doesn't work for the devil, and it won't work for any of us. It's God's way or no way. And so, long story short, he ended up getting kicked out of heaven with 1/3 of the angels that were following him. And he's been here on earth ever since, trying to get back at God by trying to do harm to God's children. You know, as a parent, it hurts you worse to see your kids hurt than it does if you were hurt yourself. And so God has provided a way for us. We are not left without help. And the thing that we have to realize is we have been given authority over the devil. When God created Adam and Eve, he gave them authority and put them in the garden. When they sinned, they gave that authority back to the devil. He said to Jesus, when Jesus was being tempted out in the wilderness, those 40 days and 40 nights, he said, these are mine and I'll give them to whomever I desire. Well, he does have power here because Adam gave it to him, but Jesus stripped him of that power. He took it away from him and he gave it that authority, not power, and he gave it back to anyone who would believe. And so I love Luke 10:19, especially in the Amplified Bible. It says, behold, which means look and see, I have given you power and authority over all the power the enemy possesses. And the thing I want you to notice is God's saying to you, I've not only given you power, but I've given you authority over all the power the enemy possesses. He didn't say the devil had authority. He says you have power and authority. The devil only has power. When you have authority, it's a wonderful thing, but it does you no good if you don't use it, if you don't exercise it. And I think too many people are just sitting around just letting the devil just beat them up and frustrate them and aggravate them and steal from them and torment them, and they don't even try to fight back. You know, you can't win the war if you don't go to the battle. And fighting the devil is not like, you know, always like, man, when I first found out about having authority as a believer back in the 70s, I mean, I would scream at the devil and yell at the devil, I rebuke you, I rebuke you. And you know what? After years, my rebuker was worn out and the devil still had the upper hand. You know what it really means to resist the devil and he will flee? This is what I believe. I think it means when you have a problem, resisting the devil does not mean to resist the problem. It means to resist acting like the devil while you got the problem. Come on. I mean, God told me that years ago. Stop trying to get rid of the problem. Just stop acting like the devil. And see, that's what he wants. We have a problem, so now we're mad at everybody, and we're being hard to get along with, and we're being rude and unloving, and we don't want to keep our commitments because I've got problems. The thing to do when the devil's coming after you is do more right than you've ever done before in your whole life. Come Come on, this is a super big secret that Christians just don't get. Romans 12:21 solves the whole thing. You overcome evil with good. You understand that? You overcome evil with good. You don't hate your enemies, you buy them a present. Do you get that? All right, so deception, deception, deception. One of the things the devil does, he tells you lies about God all the time. He tries to make people doubt the existence of God, tries to convince people that if there were a God, then all these bad things wouldn't be happening in the world. The devil tries to convince people that they're not created by God, but in fact they are the result of a cosmic accident that occurred billions of years ago, and that their closest relative is the ape. Well, it's no wonderful people in the world are discouraged. I mean, would you rather think that you're the next best thing up from an ape? Or that God created you with his own hand in your mother's womb, and he has a plan and a purpose for you, and he loves you?